Hey everyone, it's Saturn Day for SEGA Saturn SHIRO, and I'm doing a quick update, just a little notice about the Retro-Bit 2.4 gigahertz wireless analog pro. I know it's a mouthful. This is the long-awaited analog pro controller from Retro-Bit. We've heard about it for the last 2 years. We finally got it in our hands. I'm reviewing it. We're doing a tear apart. We did an unboxing. This is not a review. This is just a notice, and I'm actually hoping that Retro-Bit will see this and be able to take it under advisement, because one of the only problems that I have with this controller is actually something I feel could be resolved in a firmware update with mapping. Basically, it's an issue that I experienced at PRGE in October, and I didn't quite know what it was. But essentially, when you are in analog mode, the ideal mode to be in with Knights, you don't have any air brakes. The L and R, you don't have acrobatics and you don't have air brakes. When you're in digital mode, the air brakes work just fine, but in analog mode, which is where we all want to be with Knights, essentially the original 3D analog control pad, or multi-controller as it's known in Japan, it had this little switch, you know, and that was what would switch you between analog and digital. With this, and it also had the analog right and left triggers, right? So with this one, you have a macro that gets you there, okay? So right now, I'm switching over to digital, okay? Says I'm player 1, but that basically means that I'm in digital mode, okay? So I'm gonna press start. I'm gonna try to make this a quick demonstration. Get right into there. And, you know, I mean, this would probably affect Deep Fear as well, or any other game where you're basically like firing a weapon or using the right or left trigger at the same time. So right now I'm using the D-pad. The analog doesn't register at all because I'm in digital mode. So I'm just gonna pair with Knights here. Okay, you can come down here, and you can see that I can do these acrobats, and then I can stop on a dime if I want to, just like that. Just by holding L and R on the typical controller. Or in this case, they've mapped it to ZL and ZR. That gives you the ability to do these amazing acrobatics, you know, like that, really quick item collections, and stop on a dime with the air brake, okay? That's very important. Now, I'm switching back over to analog, okay? And now the D-pad doesn't register, but the analog control pad does, okay? So now, no air brakes, just nothing, okay? If I go over, if I press just L, I don't do any like special acrobatics. It's just a standard slow turn. And you can also see that when you're turning around in a circle, that it kind of snaps to the cardinal directions. That's another thing that's typical of pretty much any analog control that isn't a 3D control pad, just because of how it works. Sorry, I just killed that Nighttopian, but essentially, I can deal with that. This feels pretty fluid, and it feels a lot like the PS2 version, you know, which I think a lot of people are familiar with. The problem is not having the air brakes. You need those air brakes. You need to be able to, when you get the ribbon, for example, you need to be able to mash those buttons and do the ribbon combos, right? Without those, you're really not going to be able to rack up a high enough score to play competitively. And in my own case, you know, I'm looking for a controller that'll allow me to, you know, get some more life out of this game and not have to beat up on my 3D control pad so much, because that thing's pretty rare. Or not rare, but just like, they're not getting any newer and they're not making any more of them. So, so yeah, that's the issue that I'm having, and I had it at PRG and I wasn't sure. They didn't know either if it was just like the controller on the show floor had been beat up so much that it had become unresponsive. But no, it turns out that it's some kind of mapping issue where when you switch into analog mode, it no longer works. Now, when you switch back into digital mode, they work fine. You know, so that's just something I feel like could probably be resolved in a firmware update. I'm really hoping that they see this, because I don't want to put this out there as like a negative review or anything. It's just notice, needs attention kind of thing, okay? But with that said, you know, other than that, I really have found so many great things to love about these controllers. I do feel like the build quality is phenomenal. And yeah, you know, I recently did an unboxing, pleasantly surprised with a lot of the things about it, and I'm looking forward to writing a full review, but I don't want to really give a final verdict until something like this is resolved, you know. And I do feel like it's a simple thing to resolve. So until next time, this has been Saturn Dave, just reminding you that you must play Sega Saturn, and I hope you guys have a great day, and stay tuned for more updates on SegaSaturnShiro.com. See ya.